رتل قرآنك جوده وتدبر فيه ووقره فثواب الحرف به عشرا وبه الرحمن جزاء أجرا.
So before we start the lesson of today, I felt it's better we go over what we discussed last time. It was a little bit condensed and a little bit complicated, but it's very important that we do. And Alhamdulillah, I think we did a percentage of it was okay, but when it comes to Ra at the end, it becomes messy. But it's important that we know the rules. So we are going to recap quickly what we had last time. So we did magnification and simplification, الحروف المفخمة والحروف المرققة. We stated which letters are always magnified and which are always simplified. So the always magnified letters are 7 letters. خص ضغط قذ. These 7 letters are always magnified. And we gave example like al-qari'ah and liman khashiyah. So the kha and qaf are always magnified, so as the rest of the 7 letters. And then we went to the simplified letters, al-huruf al-muraqqaqa, which is the rest of the letters except the alif and the lam in Allah and Allahumma and the ra. And the example here, إذا جاء, ذال is مرققة, جيم is مرققة, في نار جهنم, all here are simplified letters. And then we come to the third part, which is a little bit complicated. So with alif, we said to follow the previous letter in magnification and simplification. So an-nas, because the noon is one of the letters that always simplified, we do the alif here, muraqqaqa, an-nas, not an-nas. So the alif here is always muraqqaqa, an-nas. This is not the case when we have previous letter is magnified or mufakham, which is sad in this case. We say absarihim. Yeah. So here the alif is mufakhama. With lam in Allah and Allahumma, lam in any other case is muraqqaqa, so it's here. But in Allah and Allahumma, we only magnify the lam if the previous letter has fatha or dhamma. Like here, huwa Allah, because before it is fatha. But here, qulillahumma. So the lam here will be muraqqaqa. Qulillahumma, because here is kasra. And ra, my advice is to memorize the 4 cases for simplification, mostly with kasra. We had last lesson, and the rest can be magnified. So here, if it's kasra, will be muraqqaqa. Fir'aun, because before this kasra would be muraqqaqa. So these 2 are ra muraqqaqa. Here, because it's with fatha, it will be mufakhama. Atraba. And again, ra with fatha will be mufakhama. Kathira. This is just examples. And I had a question in the difference between the ra mufakhama and the ra muraqqaqa, and I think this one will be pretty obvious, which is atraba. So if I'm saying ra mufakhama, it will be atraba. If I'm not saying mufakham, if I'm keeping it simplified, it will be atraba. Atraba. So the ra muraqqaqa here will be atraba, which is not correct because ra has fatha. So it will be atraba. Yeah. Kathira, same thing. Don't say kathira. Kathira means that the ra is muraqqaqa. These examples are a little bit, I think, are a little bit more clear for the ra between the difference between ra mufakham and ra muraqqaqa. This is just a recap from last lesson. It's very important because I don't know if you know this, but no one on earth speaks original Arabic on a really or a daily basis. I think I can claim that. I think it will be a very, very small minority that speaks original Arabic right now. So every country has its own dialect of Arabic. So we say that we are native Arabs, but we are not actually speaking Arabic. We're speaking the dialect of the language, like Egyptian, Syrian, Moroccan, Algerian, and so on. So we mess up a lot of letters and we mess up a lot of words. We say it differently. That's why it's very important we discuss this, even it's a little bit complicated, but it's very, very important. And Sheikh Ayman used to say, we have 28 letters. If we have every nation taken out one letter, then you need 28 countries to mess up the whole book. And Alhamdulillah, we have these Tajweed rules so that we can use it to save how the Quran was revealed, and it's very important to take it seriously. So this is the recap for last lesson. We start the lesson of today, inshallah. So the lesson of today, we go back to the stable noon and tanween, and this is the last lesson. This is the last lesson in stable noon and tanween rules, which we will discuss the fourth rule, which is, as we discussed before, yeah, I got a question in this example for ra, bottom right at raba, is it magnified or simplified? The ra here, because we have fatha, so it will be magnified at raba. If you're going to say simplified, which is not correct, so I'm going to say the incorrect way now. At raba, this is incorrect. So the correct is making magnified because there is fatha on it. The rules, we had a table with the rules in the PDF of the last lesson. So ra with fatha will be magnified at raba. Yeah. So for this lesson, we'll go back to the stable noon and tanween. We discussed merging with tone and without tone. We discussed showing, converting, and now we will discuss the last one, which is hiding. Let's go back to this. Remember this slide. We say what is the stable noon and tanween, which is one of these three ways of typing stable noon and tanween also has three ways of typing the tanween as well. And the rules depending on the following letters. I think we went through that. So now we're going to discuss the fourth and the final way and rule to handle the stable noon and tanween. This is a recap for all the previous rules we had for the stable noon and tanween. So we said if we have yanmu, or one of these four letters after the stable noon and tanween, nun sakina wa tanween, we will do idgham bi gunna. So rahmatan min, rahmatan min. Why? Because tanween and then mim, one of these four letters, and then we do idgham bi gunna. If it's ra or lam, we'll do idgham bidun gunna. So we will not say anything from this noon, and we will go to ra directly. So it will be mir rabbik, no gunna and no noon here in this case. So we have this with ra and lam. The second one is showing, which has six letters: hams, ha, ain, ha, ghain, kha. It will be written this way. The tanween and the stable noon will be written this way, and we will show the noon completely. No gunna and no like extra gunna in the noon, and no merging and nothing. We show the noon completely when we have one of these six letters after. Like here, أرأيت الذي ينهى. ينهى. So say the noon completely and they say the next letter. The last one was converting or iqlab, and we have this with one letter, which is ba, and we will see that the tanween is written this way and the noon is written this way, and now we convert the noon into meme, and we do ميم مخفاة بغنة as we discussed in the converting lesson. So the tanween will be converted into meme, and then we will do we will not like keep any space between the lips, and we will not press too hard as we discussed in the converting. So it will be لنسفعا بالناصية, and we said that this tone is a little shorter than the tone with noon with shadda and mim with shadda. This is just a quick recap at what we said in the stable noon and tanween, if you guys don't remember. So that we go, inshallah, we have six now we have six letters for merging with two different types. We have 6 letters for showing, and we have 1 letter for converting. These are 13. Then come today with the other 15 letters, inshallah. So the final and the most common one that you will ever see in the Quran is hiding, because it's actually having 15 letters. If you have one of 15 letters, you will do hiding, or we call it ikhfa. Yeah. And what is ikhfa? So if I need to say ikhfa as a definition, it's saying the noon in a state between showing, which is idghar, and merging, which is this is idgham. Um, yeah. So here we say the noon in a state between showing, which is idghar, and merging, with it idgham. The definition in the back of the book, if you go to the back of the book, you will see this definition. It says فلا هو مظهر حتى يقرعه اللسان ولا هو مدغم حتى يقلب من جنس تالي. من جنس تالي. Yeah, it means that it's not showed, so you say the noon completely, and it's not merged, so you ignore the noon and only say the next letter. We will discuss that thoroughly, inshallah. So how we perform this state, the state between idhar and idgham, how we perform this? So the first thing is that we, from the noon, so before we begin, I just need to say that the noon has 2 ports. A port coming from the nose, which is a tone, and part coming from the mouth, which is letting the tongue touch the top of the mouth, just behind the teeth. So if you say the N, the noon, you will notice that the tongue is touching the top of the mouth, and you have a tone coming out of the nose. So what we will do is we are going to keep the tone, but we are not going to make the tongue touch the top of the mouth. So this is how to perform ikhfa, and it will be clear by example. So here is noon, stable noon, and there is sin after. Sin is one of the 15 letters that we did not discuss. So this sin is one of the ikhfa letters, and then now we want to perform this ikhfa. So we will say al-insan, al-insan. What I did is I set the tone of the noon, but I did not make the tongue touch the top of the mouth. So I did not say al-insan. If I said al-insan, then it will be idhar. It will be showing. But this is not correct because we have seen after. So what we do, we only say the tone of the noon, and we do not make the tongue touch the top of the mouth. So we will say al-insan, al-insan, al-insan. Yeah. So it is different from showing, like the showing like yanha. Yanha, what's the difference between the noon here and the noon here? The difference that we in the noon here, we do not say the noon completely like here. We do not make the tongue touch the top of the mouth. We do not say yanha, yanha. If you say yanha, then your tongue will touch the top of the mouth. Then you say the noon completely. This is idhar. And yeah, so this is, we are not seeing it completely, so it's not showing and it's not merging. Why? Because we are not merging the noon completely. We are keeping a part of the noon alive and we are saying it, which is the tone. If you remember when merging, we used to say فَمَن يَعْمَلْ. So the tone was in the second letter. فَمَن يَعْمَلْ. So I do not say the noon, I do not say the tone of the noon or anything. I will say the tone in the next letter here. فَمَن يَعْمَلْ. فَمَن يَعْمَلْ. So here the tone is in the next letter, which comes with 4 letters. ينمو, يا, نون, ميم, واو. Yeah, you remember that. But in إخفاء, it's not this case. In إخفاء, we keep the tone of the noon itself. We keep the tone of the noon itself. So we'll say الإنسان. There is no tone in the next letter. I will say the next letter completely without tone, but the tone will be in the noon itself. I will keep the tone of the noon. الإنسان. This is the difference between showing الإظهار and الإخفاء, and between merging الإدغام and hiding الإخفاء. So is it clear so far? It's very important that this part is clear.
Yeah, Abdullah,
Yeah.
when you make this nasal sound, should your tongue be like a little bit raised, or should it also be possible to make this tone where your tongue is completely flat?
I didn't hear completely. Sorry, brother.
Uh,
Say again.
when you make this nasal sound, right?
Yes.
Should your tongue be like raised, or should it be completely flat on your?
No, it should not be raised. It should be completely flat. So you will not you will only only keep the part of the nasal part, and if you notice, it will be also some tone coming out of the mouth, but it is minor. So the major part will be in the nose. But the important part is that you do not let your tongue touch the top of the mouth. So let me see. Al-insan. So no, we don't move the tongue at all, because you're not going to say the noon. If you move the tongue, then it will be like saying the noon. Al-insan. So this is not correct. This is showing. So no, we don't like raise the tongue a little bit, or we will discuss the tone a little bit in the next slide, but I want to make sure this part is because some people confuse between the tone in the merging, which is actually in the next letter, and the tone in ikhfa or hiding, which is actually in the noon itself. So here we merge the noon. We do not say anything here in the noon. We make the tone to the next letter, but here we say the tone of the noon itself. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's clear. So the note here is that the length of the noon, is the tone here, is slightly shorter than the longest tone that we discussed in the noon and meme with shadda. If you remember, let me remind you here, when we said that the tone of this one will be slightly shorter than the longest tone that you can ever give to a letter. So the longest tone that you can ever give to a letter is in noon and meme with shadda, along with merging. So these two tones are equal. But when it comes to this meme in ba, so it's called meme mukhfa, so it's a hidden meme. So this tone is a little bit shorter. You can add this hiding to the same equation. So hiding also will have a little slightly shorter tone that the noon with shadda, meme with shadda, and merging. Yeah. So basically, if I'm going to say al-insan and فَمَن يَعْمَل, this because of this idgham merging, this will have a longer tone than this, slightly longer. This is the longest tone. Meme with shadda, noon with shadda, and idgham. These are the longest tone that you can give to a letter. So here it will be فَمَن يَعْمَل, فَمَن يَعْمَل. But here, a little bit shorter. Al-insan. A little bit shorter than the merging and the meme with shadda and noon with shadda. This is also an important note. Now we discussed we have 15 letters, right? So the rest of the 28 letters, we discussed 13 before in the last 3 rules. This rule can be applied to the rest of the letters, which are 15. They can be collected in one part of a poet by Sulaiman al-Jamzuri. It's called Tuhfat al-Atfal. Some people memorize this one to remind themselves of the Tajweed rules. So this line consists of some words, and the beginning of every word is one of the 15 letters that are actually applicable in al-ikhfa or hiding. But you don't need to memorize this, and you don't need to memorize the 15 letters, because it's enough to memorize the ones with the merging, the ones with the showing, and the one with iqlab or converting. If you memorize the 13, one in each rule, then the 15 will come automatically. So this is just for your knowledge. This like line is saying صف ذا ثنى كم جاد شخص قد سما دم طيبا زد في تقى ضع ظالما. Every word of this line has a first letter, and this first letter is one of these 15 letters. So these are 15 words, just to collect like the letters for ikhfa. The shape of the stable noon here and the tanween will be the same shape in merging. So be careful. So we discussed 3 shapes, right? So this one and this one is for idhar. This one and this one is for iqlab, which is converting. And this are for idgham, merging, and also for ikhfa. So you have to be careful. Yeah, the question is, when is ikhfa, will be no sukoon on the letter noon. No, it will not. And the tanween will be written this way, same as merging. But the difference is the next letter. So with merging, you have to have one of the 6 letters, yanmu or ra, lam. Then you will know it's merging with tone and without tone. But here you will find the same kind of noon with nothing on it, and the tanween will be like separate this way. Yeah, this is very important, because you don't be confused between merging and hiding. They have the same writing of noon and the tanween, but the next letter will decide if you're going to do merging or you're going to do hiding or ikhfa. Yeah. Here comes the important part that a lot of people do not give, do not care about it. It's very important, which is actually the tone that we give and that we make for the noon can be magnified and can be simplified. And this is why I discussed the magnification and simplification in the last lesson. Because the tone itself can be magnified and can be simplified as a tone itself. But you can like relax, because these 15 letters does not have ra and does not have lam and does not have alif. So the letters that are confusing and have magnification and simplification like complications, we don't have him here in al-ikhfa. We have some of the letters that you can see in dark blue. These are the letters that are ikhfa letters and in the same times are always magnified. And the rest of the letters are ikhfa letters but are always simplified. So here the tone will be different. The tone that we will leave for the noon will be said differently because the next letter is magnified or simplified. This is very important. Let's give an example and we can see. So here we have noon stable, have nothing on it, and fa after. This is completely ikhfa. So we will say أنفسكم أنفسكم أنفسكم. Yeah. Let's move to one of the magnification letters here. So here, if you can see طبقا عن, because this is عين, then the tanween is written this way, and this is the إظهار. Yeah, and we did exercise on that already. But here there is noon, and there is ta after. So this is إخفاء. This is completely empty noon, and we have ta after. So this is إخفاء. So we will say عن طبق عن طبق. There is a difference between the tone in عن طبق and the tone here in أنفسكم. The tone itself can be magnified and can be simplified. The tone itself. So I will say أنفسكم, not أنفسكم أنفسكم. So there's also tone, but is magnified. I hope you can hear the difference between أنفسكم and أنفسكم, because some people just make the tone magnified for all. So he will say أنفسكم أنزل. Do not magnify the tone if you have a simplified letter after. So here it will be simply will be أنزل أنزل, simplified tone. Yeah. But look here with the dha. I need to make the tone magnified. So I will say انظر انظر. The tone here itself is magnified. Why? Because we have a magnified letter after. Yeah, very important. الإنسان. See, the tone is what I said. الإنسان الإنسان. This is simplified letter. But let's say the magnified tone, the magnified tone of the same word. So it will be الإنسان. See the difference? It will be الإنسان. And sadly, there are some people that do this. Let's see. So you magnify, simplify the tone of the noon depending on whether the letter that comes after is magnified or simplified. Yes, this is 100% correct. And it's very important because you can hear some people saying al-insan, and they saying like this, al-insan. Why? Just because he thinks that ikhfa is always doing this tone, but this is not correct. So the tone itself can be magnified and simplified. Very important detail, and it actually shows that the person is actually reading and or just listening some information and applying anything that he listens. So you need to make sure you apply this. When you have a simplified letter after the noon in إخفاء, you will say the tone simplified. أنفسكم أنزل الإنسان. But when we have a magnified letter after, like طاء, it will be عن طبق انظر. Yeah, let's go with the examples. Here كاف أن كان أن كان. Same thing with tanween. So tanween, you will find that tanween is written like this. فيها عين جارية. عين جارية. And do not say like this. عين جارية. Don't say like this, please. So if we have a simplified letter after, you will say a simplified tone. عين جارية. إنما أنت. إنما أنت. And just notice that this tone is longer than this one, because this is the noon with shadda. This is the most complete tone that you can give to a letter. But here is a tone in ikhfa, which is a little bit shorter. So it will be إنما أنت. إنما أنت. Here the tanween fatha will be written this way, and sheen, so we do ikhfa. سبعا شدادا. سبعا شدادا. And here, excuse me guys, I did not do the mad here. Here it should have mad. I did not do because we will discuss it inshallah in the next lessons. But here it should have mad. So it will be إنما أنت. Yeah. Here also tanween fatha with tha. So it will be ماء ثجاجا. Don't say it like this. ماء ثجاجا. Don't make the tone magnified if you have a simplified letter after. This is very important. Then we go to the part with the magnified letters. صاد. So it will be كان منصورا. See, the tone here is magnified. كان منصورا. Don't say منصورا. This will actually be more difficult to say a simplified letter and then a simplified tone and then a magnified letter. It will be more difficult for you to do it. So it's not correct. So here will be كان منصورا من قبل. I hear people say من قبل. This is not correct. People are saying من قبل. So من قبل, the tone of the noon is simplified. That is not correct. So because we have qaf after, you have to make it magnified. من قبل. من قبل. Yeah. Is it clear? Do you have any questions? Let's see. What if you make a tone which is in the middle of being simplified or magnified? Is it still wrong or a bit better than mixing up the tone completely? I cannot judge here. I don't know. But the correct way is saying two kind of tone, simplified and magnified. So, and of course, you don't want to mess them up because then it will be completely wrong. But if you know the rule, then it's better to practice and try to say two kind of tones, one for simplified and one for magnified. So I don't know which what you mean by the middle. So the middle, this can be judged by the one who hears in practice. For me, I don't know the tone in this case will be correct or not. That's why we discussed the rule to try to practice and make it as good as possible. Yeah. So I hope this part is clear. So we have 15 letters that we do ikhfa or hiding with. These letters can be will have the same thing. So we will keep the part of the noon, which is the tone, and then we'll say the letter completely without any tone in the next letter. We will not make the tongue touch the upper part of the top of the mouth, so that it will not become izhar or showing. And we will have two types of tones or ghunna. So al-ghunna al-mufakhama will be if the next letter is mufakham or magnified, and al-ghunna al-muraqqaqa which will be if the next letter is muraqqaq in this case. Yeah, I hope it's clear. I have one more question. It is clear. Thank you. So this is the final summary of the stable noon and tanween, and we will say this is the last lesson of the stable noon and tanween, or noon sakina with tanween. And by this lesson, we completed everything regarding the noon sakina with tanween. This is a summary, the same thing that we discussed at the beginning, and then we added one line at the end, which is regarding the hiding that we discussed today. The homework, again, we will not add anything in this lesson. Just go back to the pages that you used to read, or read more pages if you want. Try to see the stopping signs. Try to see the small letters or the silent letters if they exist. Try to see the stable noon and tanween rules, all the stable noon and tanween rules. Try to look into the ra, lam, and alif, see which of them are muraqqaq and which of them are mufakham. Yeah, and then you recite and you apply as much as you can. This is homework, and I hope you guys do it. Practicing is very, very important.